What's happening?
Get ready for us. We're going live.
Bruh.
Fellas,
It's a chance of the 3.5.
Cheers,
Wanna know the deal. What's going on?
Look at that, man.
what's up?
It's a chance of the 3.5 to be a fly on the wall. At the barber shop or gym in the bathroom stall. Or when he's on his way from hanging out or work.
Hello.
At the end of the day, do you ever just want to get into a huddle to listen, rebuttal, or just plain understand what's happening in the cave of a man? Yeah.
Speak on it.
3.5. Yeah.
All right.
The airplane involved was a Beechcraft Bonanza single-engine aircraft. On board, pilot Bruce Gurnon had two passengers, his father and business partner. If you draw up a map, trace a line connecting the island of Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Miami, and back to Bermuda, what do you get? Yes, it's a triangle, a sinister polygon known for mysteriously swallowing over 2,000 ships and 200 aircraft over the centuries. At an altitude of about 1,000 feet, he noticed a small cloud up ahead. But it kept growing. Not from the plane getting closer. This thing was actually getting bigger in size. Bruce had to fly through it. At that moment, it got dark as night all around the aircraft. Not a single sliver of sunshine got through. But this wasn't a storm cloud, and it wasn't raining. Bruce was starting to get worried, and then, bam! He saw flashes of white light. They would appear and vanish quickly like lightning. Bruce kept flying for another 30 minutes when he realized this was the same cloud he had gone through earlier when he started to climb. But now the cloud was cylindrical and the plane was flying through its center. It was about 1 mile wide and seemed endless. Bruce thought he could never get out of that trap. But a minute later, he saw light at the end of the tunnel. Unexplainable things started happening again. The walls of the cloud tunnel began to narrow. They were closing in on the plane. The navigational instruments started wigging out. The compass was spinning by itself counterclockwise. The electronic instruments were all malfunctioning. It was like the plane was being operated by something else, or it was moving inside some kind of current. The walls kept narrowing, smaller and smaller, wrapping like a vortex. Bruce was running out of time. He had to get out of this place fast. The next 20 seconds were the most intense of his life. But then, he burst out of this foggy trap. The men let out a big sigh of relief. He immediately grabbed the radio and contacted ground control. Bruce wanted them to determine his location. But when the dispatcher looked at the green screen, his face became contorted with confusion. Bruce's plane wasn't on the radar. It was as if the thing was invisible. The distance the Beechcraft was supposed to cover was about 250 miles. Remember, the whole trip usually took around 90 minutes. But this time, it took just 47 minutes to get to the destination. This model of aircraft can only cruise at about 180 miles per hour. The plane landed safely, and it was time to try and solve this mystery. So what happened on that flight? Bruce checked the remaining fuel and his watch. After a short calculation, he was only more confused. The plane hadn't gone through the amount of fuel it should have. Bruce couldn't have been wrong. He was a very experienced pilot. To this day, there is no real answer for how Bruce was able to travel that distance in such a short time. But some details still can be explained. Archive records show that 84 sunspots were recorded that day, as well as a huge solar wind moving almost 440 miles per second. This would cause disturbances in the Earth's magnetosphere that could throw off the plane's instruments and radars. In 1945, a total of 5 planes went missing in the Bermuda Triangle all at once. On December 5th, some Navy student pilots were training in the area. The incident was called Flight 19. Even now, there's a debate about how it could have happened. 3 years later, a passenger jet headed to Miami from Puerto Rico disappeared in the same area. There were 29 passengers and 3 crew members on board. The next month, in January 1948, another plane went missing in Bermuda. 25 passengers and 6 crew members just vanished somewhere between Azores and Bermuda. The mystery of this plane's disappearance, along with countless others, remains unsolved.
Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. New York City,
we opened 6 on the ships, on 2 ships, and we're going to open it on Norwegian on a 3rd ship. We were going to last fall during a dry dock. They were going to take out one show, put in this one. But then this whole thing started, and then they canceled everything. But I think the plan might be still to put it on that 3rd ship. And their whole thing was like, yeah, come see this great show from the West End before it hits Broadway. See it on the ship. Mm-hmm. And it's the full show because it's only 75 minutes.
That was a genius move that, I'd say something. Well, Robbie did. Like bringing that, like finding that show. And I was like, that's genius because literally it was just the vessel that went from Edinburgh to West End of the States.
Yeah, and they previewed on Broadway, and opening night of Broadway is when they went dark. So they never opened on Broadway.
They're coming back. Yeah. That's how that little show is going to be sitting next to Hamilton as one of the 7 shows opening up when Broadway's back. Wow. It's impressive. And
I guess, well, Darren, you can see if you want to, how you want to take this information with the recording, but that's the show that Richard went, that they were doing something in London to, I guess, to promote and to create something like that, those episode things like the Marissa was part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The first one they did was Choir of Man.
Choir of Man.
Yeah, they did like a empty theater, all on the stage type thing.
I saw them in Edinburgh too.
So those are the shows that they're bringing on. Like they put on this other show, like a fringe show, Velvet. They put on 2 ships. You know.
Yeah, like those fringe, develop them a little longer. You can add on maybe 20 minutes more, and just that's it. You're set.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's not in the ships yet. He could like improvise, beatbox, and like rap on the spot. It was incredible.
I haven't seen Choir of Man yet. Just
it's a good show. It's a good show.
I would like to definitely work on it because what I've heard is like, you're definitely gonna enjoy it. So when I saw that thing that they did online, I'm like, I definitely gonna work on this show. This is awesome. I would like to. I mean, but they've always had like somebody else come in. I think like they bring their own person, I think, or something.
Well, they had their home team for a while, but I mean, like, who knows how long that kind of stuff lasts. But that's what everything else. It's like they do like the first maybe 1 or 2 cast, and then but usually with like like another person learning the show to take over, and then they, there's another designer that comes up and maintains or redo or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Now, if I could make a suggestion, Darren, there's the days of cattle call are gone. Everything's going to be online submission now. Everything's going to be, I want to see you. Now's the time to hit up everybody. Like, go into and just send everything over and say, when you're opening, I'm ready. Because 2 cons back, they've opened up already. Depending on the states, you're seeing things out. Now, traveling, going, different story. You got to be, understand the safety. I don't know. Every state's different with vaccinations. But now is the time to strike while the iron's hot, because they're going to rather go to their go-tos when shit opens up and they need to make money immediately than try to, you know?
Yeah.
So you think the tours are gonna still be?
Get rid. Sorry.
Do you think tours are still gonna be on hold for a bit?
I say it again.
Tours? You think they're gonna be on hold still for a while?
No. No. Matter of fact, Michael Hopewell, piano player.
Yeah.
Getting picked up for like Phantom of the Opera again, getting calls. They're preparing over right now. They're preparing. They're rolling out. I would say overseas is first, America's after. But I'm telling you, the tours and the cruise ships are going to be the first thing Broadway does it. Because Broadway, you're talking about a lot bigger of a nut that you have to pull in with an investment than you do at a regional house or you do on a tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The regional houses, a lot of them have already started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, they already started. So, and they're going to the go-tos right now. Like people I see on Facebook, it's like, oh, of course they're working because everybody, they know exactly who to call.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just got to keep hitting up everybody you know. And everybody you know.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry. Say that again.
Everybody you know and everybody you don't. You hit up every agency, every theater. I get theaters directly because remember, no one's and even these small theaters that they're not really their nut was going to New York once, twice a year and pulling their list. They're doing it online. They're new to online, so if you head them, then it's sitting in their lap. It's I think back because I used to do that when I was in it when no one was really doing it. I was like, man, I can't go to 5 auditions. I would just email everybody. A lot of the work I got was just online submissions. This is when it was just
because if they couldn't get to the city, they would just go to their emails and be like, oh, I'll do this.
Yeah, I'm deep in Brooklyn. I had work, all these different things. It's like, so I would just submit like crazy, and it'd be like I work and I'd take like 3 hours a night and just that's it, But it's like that's the strategy right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what the students are learning right now. They're all like,
I don't think this online thing is going anywhere. I think it's just going to grow more.
Well, yeah, because now people see how accessible it is. They see how quick people, got onto it and how many things they can get accomplished through the online stuff. So they're like, wait, this is actually going to be the way of the world. The other thing is just going to be our luxury now because this used to be luxury.
Yeah. Sucks for kids with their snow days. Fuck snow days. You're going to class.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think things are still going to need to be live element.
Yeah.
You need to have that. It's just society. But I think there's going to be a lot more accessibility virtually. And I think a lot more strategies virtually prior to live. I don't know. I just think that everyone's going to be so accustomed to this. And then I started thinking to myself, people that are not, what's going to be like when things actually open up a bit more and you have to be sociable.
What's that like? I mean, we thought people were buried in their phones before. They're definitely going to be like...
Yeah. Oh, wait, can we just have a meeting here? We're all sitting in like a table. Can we just...
Interesting. It's interesting to think. I don't know. It's just... I went to the Yankee game on opening night.
How was that?
It was wild, man. New York has Excelsior Pass. So you scan, I scanned my, the QR code.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 more security, this and that, and then went in. And it's funny, when we went in, stadium looked, but everything was just moving in like a slow rhythm to get to where you need to get to. And it was different, but it was good. It was good to be.
What was the max capacity allowed?
20%.
20%.
Yeah. So I mean, it was scattered around. Like,
yeah. I think I saw some like things on the telly that it was some audiences.
Like a Mets game. It was hilarious.
Like, oh wait, there's a head. Oh, there's another head. I think that's the person.
Right, exactly.
Well, at least the fucking bathroom lines are smaller, right?
Oh yeah. But I did. It was funny. I did the Audi. I paid a little extra. We did the Audi Club indoors.
Uh-huh.
They have a buffet style, but it was served to you.
This fucking
Oh,
I got my club. I got my fucking own like leather chair. Sorry, guys.
But get that kind of money. It's the difference, right? You just you get the deals.
Pictures from the gentleman weekend we had.
That was wow.
That was August, right? August, September?
Do y'all remember? That was August, yeah.
August, isn't it?
That was fun.
Dude, that fucking place was nice as fuck, man. It was a hotel, wasn't it? Like, I think it was a W hotel that we stayed at?
Well, it was a hotel where we stayed, Bruno.
Yeah.
But I also made a drunken trip to the residential part.
Yes, you did. Unbeknownst to you. Well, my key fucking works.
Oh,
I guess I'm in the right place.
That's
but where's Bruno? Oh, he's still at the club.
I'm sitting there.
I'm lay down right here.
Yeah, I'm just like,
who's this old lady?
But
All right, well, whatever.
I was just like, where's Bruno's bags? Because I stopped so I went to the kitchen, got a bottle of water. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't think about anything then. And I wondered, I was like, man, I don't see any of our bottles of liquor, but maybe we cleaned up before we left.
And whose fucking birthday cake is this in the fridge?
And I sat on the couch and I sat there went to sleep. I woke up and I looked around and I was like, did Bruno leave? Where's his stuff at?
Oh my God.
So I got up, went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I was just like, I feel a lot better than I did at the club because I actually didn't feel good then. And I was like, I feel a lot better than I did at the club. And so I went through this other door and I was like, I could have sworn the door in the bathroom led to my room.
To his room, yeah.
So I went back out and said, walked around a little bit and I looked and I was like, something's weird. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm in the okay. So I just kind of like froze for a second, kind of got my bearings, walked out in the hallway, walked back down, and the guy from down there, he was like a bellman or whatever. He said, hey man, he said, oh, you're looking a lot better. I was like,
oh yeah. Shit.
And I walked outside a little bit, and there's another building identical to the one that I was in. Mm-hmm. That was the building that we had our room in.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get in?
Well, either my key worked or the door was just open.
Probably open, yeah.
Wow.
And I thought maybe my key was opening it. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have just been,
that dude saw you, obviously, the bell guy, right?
And he didn't think anything of it. But you know how sometimes you go to like a house, not a housewarming, but like a open house.
Yeah.
Right.
If you ever go see an apartment or something that you're trying to purchase or rent or something like that, I think the door probably was just open.
Yeah.
The key went in, but it probably wasn't that my key unlocked it. It probably was just that it was open.
It was open and you thought.
And there was nobody in there, so that's good.
It looked identical, Jonathan, identical within where my mind was at that time. But I'm saying identical enough for me to think that was it.
Ain't got nobody like, what the fuck?
Because you got to think about it. I left, you and George had already gone somewhere, but I left Bruno, Carlton, and his brother
at the club.
Yeah. And got into I don't know, was it an Uber or a cab? Maybe an Uber. Probably, I don't know, were Ubers big back then?
Yeah, they were around because that's what I took back. I took an Uber back.
Yeah, so I took an Uber back, and then I think the Uber dropped me off in a place that I didn't tell him to because I was like, it was like 3 buildings in this one area. You remember Brickell? Yeah. I mean, you lived in Brickell, Johnny, so it was like, well, those little high rises were, and wherever he dropped me off, I just got out and went in, and it looked like the same setup. I passed the bell guy. I thought it was just
outside, so it was the same.
The name's outside the same. Yeah. And then I passed him, went up the elevators, went to our floor, walked around the corner, right, just like our place was set up, and then put my key in and opened this thing.
I got back. I didn't see this guy. I was like, oh, all right, so I guess he's still out somewhere. Well, I don't even know if I remember even checking because I was fucking gone. And I came back at like 7 or 8 in the morning.
That was about
maybe
the time.
That's when you did come back.
I came back. You were in the bed.
Right. Okay. Right.
And so you kind of looked at me, kind of like, "Where you been, man?" I'm like,
"Yeah,
I'll tell you later."
Yeah, because I had a flight the next morning. I had a flight like a couple hours later. That's why I was like, "All right, fuck it, let me finish packing and at least try to get 2 hours."
Well, see, and that's what initially went through my mind. I was like, "Did he already leave?" Which was so weird because I was like, but I knew I'd fallen asleep for a second, so I was just like, "Did he leave?" And weird, man.
I'll bet you've heard of the lost civilization of Atlantis sinking into the waters off the coast of ancient Greece. The story is supposed to be a myth, but have scientists finally found the lost city? Not sure about that, but they did find a lost continent. Earth lost what was called Greater Adria between 100 and 120 million years ago. So, how did that happen, and where did it go? When it broke off from a humongous landmass known as Gondwana. Stick around for more on that here in a few. The Greenland-sized chunk headed north. When it eventually crashed into Europe, it slipped under and caused the meeting place of the two continents to fold and scrunch up. I know a continent that's mostly underwater yet isn't lost at all. Ever heard of Zealandia? It's also called the New Zealand continent or Tasmantis. It looks like an archipelago, which is a string of islands. But if you peek under the water, you'll see that it's really one continuous piece of submerged land with mountaintops poking out over the surface. Those peaks are the islands, the Rio Grande Rise. It's a stretch of underwater seamounts that's been dubbed Brazil's Atlantis. Greater Adria lay somewhere between North Africa and southern Eurasia. Hey, that's right around the Mediterranean Sea. And the Mediterranean is where Greece and Athens are. So, Greater Adria must have been Atlantis, right? Doubtful. Atlantis was simply flooded. Or perhaps it could have been one of the islands scraped off and left behind when Greater Adria dove under Europe. Disappointing as it is to say, the one thing we can't be sure of is that Adria itself wasn't Atlantis. The tectonic forces that shoved the continent under Europe did so over 100 million years ago. Greater Adria not only crashed into Europe, but she was also spinning on the way there. A twirling, dancing mass of land whose carefree trip northward would be cut short by an unexpected roadblock known as Europe. Now, my only remaining question is, if Greater Adria dove beneath Europe, could she rise again? It is possible. Continents keep shifting, and they remain on the move today. But they tend to go at a snail's pace. So, check back in another 100 million years, and we'll see how many continents second graders are learning about in the future.
The Gents of 3.5.
Well, all right.
All right.